Hey neighbors, Brent here with your daily prayer challenge. It's day 33, and I know that many of you are saying, now didn't we just see him this morning for day 32? You did. Thanks again for the grace you afforded me to let me get that video out a little bit late. But now 2 videos and a Sunday morning of worship with you. You may have had enough of me by the end of today, but just wanted to check in with you. It's day 33, again, of this 40-day prayer challenge, Mark Batterson. As you'll see, I've got a little sticky note here with a couple names on it. Today's message is around intercession, intercessory prayer. Basically, taking a person and praying over them and for them, that God would bless them, that God would care for them. This morning, our custodian there at the school pulled me aside and asked me to pray for a coworker of his and her son, who are from Mexico. And on a trip back home recently, the son was kidnapped by some of the local vigilantes there in the community. And it's been a horrible situation for that woman and for her son. And so I promised him I'd be praying for those two. I find that people come to me often asking that I would pray for them and pray for their needs. And I'm very happy to do that. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is to pray for those who are in need and pray for our church family. And ultimately, though, the people who I hold in prayer most, the people that I'm interceding for every day, my wife, my 3 sons, my mom and dad, my in-laws, my brother and his family, his wife, and my niece Raven. These are people that I love dearly and I hold close to my heart in prayer all throughout the day. And of course, the prayer needs of our congregation I'm praying for as I find out about them, or as God brings to my spirit just names or faces of members of our church that I know are in need, that I can pray for. It reminded me when he was talking about intercessory prayer, how important it is that we take names of one another, that we really pour over them with prayers, bringing their names to the attention of God. If you're in our worship services on Sunday mornings, you know that's a really important part of our service. When we have that time of silence and we just lift names into the air and put them in front of God, those names that represent the people in our lives who we're holding in prayer. Intercessory prayer was something that I tried in a more intentional way. A handful of years ago, I took a trip to France. I took 9 high school kids and some adults to a monastery there in south central France, a little community called Taizé. And at Taizé, this group of us, we gathered with about 2,000 international pilgrims, folks who had come from all over the world to this monastery. And my group had carried backpacks. We had our tents inside our backpacks, so we would sleep in tents. Each morning we'd be awakened by the sound of bells, of chimes in this community. We'd go to morning prayer. We would have a morning meal and some Bible studies. We'd hit midday prayer, a lunch, some Bible studies again, some chores, an evening meal, and then an evening worship. We were in worship, it seemed like all day long. We were encouraged to pray for people back home. And so one of the ways that I decided to pray was I'd gone into the gift shop that was filled with things like this, jewelry, postcards, art, hand-woven things that the brothers at the monastery had made. I was drawn to this here. It's a little symbol about baptism. It's a small white piece of pottery with a blue crystalline thing in the inside of it. And what I did was I bought one for each member of my family and dedicated one day, each day of my trip there, to praying for one person in my family by name. And then I would take the little piece of jewelry out of my shirt, and I would just rub my thumb, and I'd hold it, morning prayer, noonday prayer, evening prayer, and all throughout the day praying that God would bless, that God would care for, that God would protect the family member that I had chosen for that day. And there was such power in praying for my family. And I'm realizing now as a pastor how much goes into being a pastor, and how grateful I am when I get a text message or an email or a phone call from one of you letting me know that you've been praying for me that day, or that you're praying for me as I put together the Sunday message, or that you're praying for me as I'm getting ready to do a funeral or a wedding. Praying for me because you know that the work that I'm doing, the call that I've accepted with my life, isn't always an easy one. And so if you're looking for someone to add to your prayer list, let me be one of the names you add today. I'm always open to being prayed for, and I believe your prayers will allow me to be faithful, will allow me to continue to be the kind of pastor that you need me to be and the kind of pastor God's called me to be. I'll let you go for now. You've had a lot of Brent today, so have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Rest well, and we'll see you tomorrow. God bless you. Bye-bye.